Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, hear ye, the case of the people versus King Ahab with regard to the wrongful death of the prophet Naboth. Is the defense ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Is the prosecution ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Are you sure?
I was looking for the P, I couldn't find it.
Oh, that would be down the hall.
Nice catch.
I love this joke.
The defense may call its first witness.
The defense calls the accused King Ahab to the witness stand.
Goodbye, attorney. Please step up to the podium. I feel more secure with you by my side. I'm sorry, Old Testament.
All right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I am the law in this land. What do you expect?
I'll take that as a yes. Please be seated. State your name for the court.
I am King Ahab, son of Omri, 7th king of Israel.
And how long have you been king of Israel?
Like the young man said earlier, 20 years.
Tell us about some of the things you've accomplished as leader, King Ahab.
I object. I do not see the relevance of this question to the case at hand.
Your Honor, I'm only trying to lay the groundwork as to the character of King Ahab, as the jury must decide if he was capable of committing the crime he has been accused of.
Overruled. Continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. King Ahab, tell us about your accomplishments as King of Israel.
I believe that I've been a king who has sought to build bridges between people for the benefit of Israel.
Would you give us some examples of this bridge building?
I'd be glad to. To begin with, I continued the relationships that King David and King Solomon established with the Phoenicians. Financial stability helps to maintain peace, and I did that all that I could to keep the peace alive.
How else did you maintain peace for Israel?
I united Israel with the kingdom of Judah. We've been fighting for generations, and I recognized that there was strength in unity. A nation that was with us would not strike out against us.
Wise words, King Ahab.
Thank you.
And I imagine that everyone in Israel was pleased with these peacekeeping policies as they allow both personal and financial stability.
Surprisingly, no. There were some prophets of Yahweh who claimed to know the affairs of state better than their king.
Could you give us an example of this treason?
I object to the word treason.
Sustained. Please reword your question.
King Ahab, could you tell us about the disagreement with your policy?
We had been at war with my brother, the king of Damascus. The winds were blowing strongly against him, and I had an opportunity to crush him.
Crush him?
Kill him. Slaughter him. Destroy him and his entire army. I could have wiped them out and taken Damascus for my own. And the prophets of Yahweh kept telling me to do so. They claimed that God wanted a complete victory over our enemy.
And did you shame and annihilate your brother and his army?
No. I had compassion for him. He came to me dressed as a beggar, and I felt mercy for him.
Mercy and compassion. These seem like good qualities for a king.
They are necessary to maintain peace. In the end, the leniency I showed my brother won Israel yet another ally.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. King Ahab, where were you on the night that the prophet Naboth was stoned to death?
I was in my garden tending to some arugula.
And do you spend a lot of time in your garden, King Ahab?
I am a busy man. Gardening helps me to unwind every now and then.
I have seen you in your garden, and it is quite beautiful, King Ahab.
Thank you. My wife and I do enjoy getting out in it.
And so based on the beauty of the garden, are we to believe that you need to unwind a lot, King Ahab?
Objection. Relevance to the case. Will the prosecution examine King Ahab's model train set? Next.
Order! Order!
My wife and I like to garden together, that's all. It's a pleasant way to pass the few quiet moments that we get together, sir.
Ah, yes, your lovely wife, Queen Jezebel. I find it hard to believe that the king of Phoenicia's daughter would stoop to play in the dirt.
Then how could you believe that your king could also hold such a passion?
King Ahab, isn't it true that you married Queen Jezebel to form a marriage alliance between Phoenicia and Israel?
She is a beautiful woman.
Isn't it true that your marriage to this beautiful woman gave you more than power?
The alliance did help to stabilize Israel.
And isn't it true that you married your daughter off to the crown prince of Judah to stabilize Israel?
It was important to my people's safety.
Safety that was not afforded to the prophet Naboth?
Objection.
Sustained.
King Ahab, you have used people to stabilize Israel, and yet it isn't true that since your marriage to Queen Jezebel, Israel's faith in Yahweh has been waning?
I do not know what you mean.
Isn't it true that your wife worshipped Baal, the god of Phoenicians?
Yes.
And as the leader of the nation, hasn't her allegiance to Baal weakened Israel's reliance on Yahweh?
I suppose some people have been moved to change allegiance, but can't we all just get along?
Apparently not. Or the prophet of Yahweh, Naboth, would not be bloody and dead under a pile of stone.
I object.
Overruled. Sit down.
King Ahab, you have admitted that you use people as means to what you consider a higher end. You have allowed and encouraged your people to turn their backs on God by the introduction of and the embrace of Baal. You have shown disdain for the words of Yahweh's prophets and who they stand for. You will not do whatever it takes to get what you want, and now what the prophet Naboth's death, you have the garden that was once his.
Unclaimed property returns to the state after a person's death.
But the prophet Naboth did not just die, King Ahab. The prophet Naboth was murdered. Murdered by the dirty hands of a man who wanted to unwind a little.
I object.
Murdered because that man couldn't get something that he wanted.
I object.
Murdered because King Ahab has no respect for God or God's people.
I object.
Murdered because King Ahab wanted a bigger patch of arugula.
I object.
I object to King Ahab murdering the prophet of Yahweh, Naboth, too, Your Honor. The prosecution rests.
All right, that's it.